The wooden stool creaked under Mama Ijeoma's weight as she shifted slightly, pulling her headscarf tighter against the morning breeze. She had been there since dawn, as she had always been every day for the past 12 years. The Adeyemi estate gate stood tall and black before her. Behind those gates lay a life that used to be hers, her son's life. Children on their way to school sometimes whispered about her. Some of the street vendors felt pity and handed her some bits of food, but most people just crossed to the other side of the road. The guards barely looked at her anymore. They had decided long ago that she was a harmless old woman with a stubborn habit. They didn't know that her heart beat for one reason only: to see her son. It was a Tuesday in mid-April. The sky was heavy with the promise of rain when the gates began to open. Mama Ijeoma's breath caught in her throat. A long, sleek, black Rolls-Royce car drove forward. She scanned the tinted glass and then it opened. For the first time in over a decade, she saw him, Chike Adeyemi. His face had matured, sharper jawline, broader shoulders, but those eyes were the same, deep, brown, steady and searching. The car didn't stop, but for a brief heart-wrenching moment, his gaze looked with hers. His brows furrowed almost immediately before the car slid past, and the gates shut again. She sat back down slowly, her pulse racing. The next day, the car stopped. The guard, a tall man named Idris, approached her and he said, "Madam, Oga say may you come inside," in pidgin English. Her legs trembled as she stepped through the gates she had stared at for 12 years. The courtyard was even grander. Up close, there were marble tiles, lush gardens, and fountains shaped like leaping dolphins. And there he was. Chike stood at the bottom of the grand staircase in tailored navy suits. His expression was unreadable. "Who are you?" he asked. Her voice cracked. "I am your mother," she said. A murmur rippled through the gathered staffs, and from the corner of the hall, a tall woman in an expensive gold lace wrapper froze. Her face was tight, her eyes narrowed like a hawk spotting a threat. Madam Felicia, the woman everyone knew as Chike's mother. That evening, Felicia stormed into Chike's study. "Chike, my son," she began, her tone trembling with just the right amount of hurt. "That woman is dangerous. She is here to take advantage of you. People like her see wealth and think it's theirs."
"She has my father's old family ring,"
Chike said quietly. Felicia's eyes flickered. "She probably stole it. I remember how thieves came after us when you were little. Please don't let her ruin what we have built," she pleaded. The seed of suspicion was planted already, and Felicia watered it every chance she got. In the weeks that followed, life in the mansion became a silent battlefield. Mama Ijeoma's meal began arriving cold or oversalted. Her bedroom door accidentally jammed shut one night while she was inside. The other day, a vase mysteriously fell from the balcony, shattering inches from where she stood. The staff avoided her eyes. Felicia's influence ran deep inside the household. Every cook, cleaner, and driver had been loyal to her for years. But Mama Ijeoma enjoyed it all. She had waited 12 years at the gate. She could wait longer for the truth to come out. It began with whispers. Felicia would corner Chike in the corridor after business meetings, her gold bangles clicking softly as she touched his arm in a motherly gesture. "Chike," she said one evening, lowering her voice, "I saw her on the phone today speaking in hushed tones. I think she's working with people outside. They may be plotting something." And Chike said, "Plotting what?" She said, "She could sell your private information to the press. Remember? Did you remember that scandal with Senator Fubara? It started just like this." Chike's lips pressed into a thin line. He did not reply, but Felicia knew the doubt was sinking in. 3 weeks later, Mama Ijeoma was set to attend the charity gala with Chike. It would be her first public appearance as his guest, though he had not publicly acknowledged her as his mother. The dressmaker had delivered a rich emerald lace gown. She looked in the mirror, and for the first time in years, she saw herself as something more than the woman at the gate. But halfway down the marble staircase on gala night, her heel slipped. The fall was hard, too hard for an ordinary misstep. Chike rushed to her side, shouting for the driver. At the hospital, the doctor confirmed a sharp piece of metal had been wedged under the carpet edge. When Chike asked who had last cleaned the staircase, the staffs stammered and looked at the floor. Felicia arrived at the hospital with a bouquet of lilies and an expression of perfect concern. "Oh, Chike, these old women, their bones are so fragile. She must be more careful," she said. Mama Ijeoma's eyes met hers across the bed. She said nothing, but in her silence, a war cry was building. One night, while the house was quiet, Mama Ijeoma awoke to sound of her door creaking open. A shadow slipped in, tall, slim, and holding an unknown object. She froze, pretending to sleep. The figure moved towards her bedside. Her heart pounded. But just as the person reached out, a loud voice called through the darkness, "Drop it!" It was Idris, the head guard. He switched on the light. Standing by her bed, cut like a thief, was one of the junior housemates. Chike was called immediately. The maid claimed she had been sent to check if Mama was comfortable. But Idris had seen the small knife in her hand, but he did not say anything. The incident shook Chike deeply. His questions grew sharper. He began reviewing security footages, but curiously, certain tapes had been erased. One afternoon, Chike confronted Felicia. "Why do I feel like things keep happening around her? First, the fall, now this. Are you hiding something?" Chike asked. Felicia smiled and said, "You are allowing that woman to turn you against me. Chike, have I not been the one by your side since you were a baby? I was there when you took your first step in the company world. I protected you from leeches and gold diggers, and now you doubt me?" Her voice broke. She turned away dramatically, letting a tear roll down her cheek. It worked for her for that moment. A week later, Chike walked past the staff quarters and heard voices. He paused when he recognized one of them. It was Felicia's sharp, commanding tone. "You must make her leave this house. She will not sit in my place. Do you hear me? Do anything it takes," Felicia said to the staff member. The staff member mumbled something in return, but Chike didn't need to hear more. That night, he went to Mama Ijeoma's room. Mama Ijeoma was sitting by the window, staring at the moon. "Mama," he said softly. She turned, surprised, because he had never called her that before. "Mama, tell me everything from the beginning," he said. The room was dim, except for the soft glow of the bedside lamp. Chike sat opposite Mama Ijeoma, his elbows on his knees, leaning forward as if afraid of missing a single word. Mama Ijeoma took a deep breath and began. "You were barely 2 years old when your father died. It was sudden. A car accident on the Lagos-Ibadan expressway. I was still in shock when she came," Mama Ijeoma said. "Who came?" Chike asked. "Felicia. She said she had been sent by your father's business associates to help manage the estate while I grieved. I trusted her. I shouldn't have," she stated. Her voice trembled but did not break. "One night, I woke up to find your bed empty. She claimed she had taken you to a safe location because dangerous people were after the family. I searched for months, then years. I thought you were dead, my son, until the day I saw your photograph in the newspaper, standing beside her, calling her mother," she said sadly. Chike swallowed hard. "Why didn't you come inside the gate sooner, Mama?" he asked. "I tried. The guards wouldn't let me. Felicia told them I was a mad woman." Mama's lips tightened. "So I waited. I waited for you to see me with your own eyes. The next morning, Chike made a decision, and it was a decision Felicia would not see coming. He quietly hired a private investigator, a man named Shegun, who had once handled cases for him in the past. Shegun worked fast. Within 2 weeks, he had gathered enough evidence to shake the very foundation Felicia stood on. He got evidences of a forged guardianship papers, evidences of bribes to local officials, evidences of bank transfers from family accounts into Felicia's personal offshore accounts, evidences of she selling some of Chike's late father's land without his consent. Chike kept the files locked in his study, waiting for a better moment to strike, because he needed the perfect moment. Felicia, on the other hand, sensed the sudden shift around Chike. Chike was polite but distant from her. He no longer sought her advice as before. One rainy evening, she decided to act first. She called Chike into the drawing room where 2 police officers sat waiting. "This woman," Felicia said, pointing at Mama Ijoma, "this woman is an impostor and a thief. She has been stealing valuables from this house." Mama Ijoma gasped. "What? You calling me an impostor and a thief?" she asked. The officers held up a velvet pouch containing diamond earrings worth millions. They had been found in Mama's wardrobe. But Chike didn't even look at the pouch. His eyes were locked on Felicia, and his jaw was tight. "Enough," he said coldly. "I know exactly what you are doing." He dismissed the police and closed the case. That night, Chike invited the entire household, staffs, security, and Felicia also, into the grand living room. Rain pattered against the tall windows as everyone gathered. He placed Shegun's thick evidence file on the coffee table. "This," Chike began, "is the truth." He went through every document, every photograph, every audio recording that Shegun had captured, including the one of Felicia ordering a staff member to make sure the old woman didn't last long in the house. Gasps filled the room. Felicia's face turned red. "This woman," Chike said, his voice breaking silently, "is not my mother. My real mother is standing right here." He turned to Mama Ijoma and took her hand. "And I will never let her be pushed out again," he said. Felicia's pleas turned to screams, then to threats, but security was already at her side, escorting her towards the door. As the gate swung open, the same gate Mama Ijoma had sat outside for years was the same gate Felicia twisted back to glare at. "You will regret this, Chike. Both of you, you will regret this," she angrily said. The days that followed were like the sunlight breaking after a storm. Mama Ijoma no longer ate in silence. She laughed with her son over breakfast. She visited the family lands that she had been cut off from for 12 years. Chike announced to the press, "For this record, this is my mother, the woman who gave me life and sacrificed everything for me," he said. From that moment, the household bowed to her with genuine respect. Sometimes, Mama Ijoma would stand by the gates at sunset, remembering the years of waiting. But now, she stood on the inside, her son beside her, because those gates would never close against her again. Felicia's fall from grace was swift and merciless. Within a week, the press was flooded with headlines. Former socialite exposed for fraud. Woman impersonates billionaire's mother, faces multiple charges. Photographs of her being escorted out of the Adeyemi estate went viral. Social media was brutal. Memes, hashtags, and old society photos captioned with "fake mama" spread like wildfire. In that night, in her small rented apartment, Felicia stayed at the peeling paint on the walls. Meanwhile, Mami Ijoma stepped into the world she had been locked out for 12 years. Her first public outing as Chike's mother was at a charity fundraiser for widows. She dressed in a regal wine-colored lace and a matching gele. She moved with quiet dignity. The city's elites, many of whom had once believed Felicia's lies, now bent low in greetings to her. One elderly woman whispered to another, "She's even more graceful than Felicia was," she whispered. Mami Ijoma smiled politely, but in her heart, she wasn't there for the statues. She was only there to make sure no other mother suffered the isolation she had endured for 12 years. One rainy afternoon, as Mami Ijoma sipped tea by the window, her guard announced a visitor. It was Felicia. She looked thinner, older, her once perfect hair now straight with grey. She held no arrogance this time, only desperation. "I came to ask for forgiveness," Felicia said quietly. I lost everything," she said. Mami Ijoma studied her for a long moment and said, "You didn't lose everything, Felicia. You still have your life. Use it better than you did before." Felicia's eyes welled up. She nodded and left without another word. And with this, our story ends here today. Thank you guys so much for bringing out your time to watch this story to the end. Thank you so much. Please don't forget to like, comment, and share to your loved ones.